300 Iraqi citizens are killed and wounded as a result of the explosion of booby-trapped cars in Baghdad and its suburbs. Units of the Syrian army deal heavy blows to the terrorists and destroy a tunnel they used in Daraya. Second school certificate students begin their supplementary examinations. Good afternoon, welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The supplementary exams for the high school certificate in all its branches started today. This round gives the students the opportunity to modify their results and raise their grades and get a seat in the college they prefer. President Bashar al-Assad has issued decree number 300 in 12/8/2012 to organize supplementary exams for the high school certificate in both branches, the scientific and literary. The high school students from both branches, the scientific and literary, who failed in their exams in the first round have the right to repeat 3 subjects at most in the supplementary exams. The Syrian community and the branch of the National Union of Syrian Students in Russia on Saturday organized a protest outside the U.S. Embassy in Moscow in the framework of the global campaign in support of Syria. The participants in the event, held in coordination with the Commonwealth of Independent States and the Russian Anti-Globalization Organization, denounced the policies practiced by some Western and regional countries in support of international terrorism, particularly in Syria. Raising the Syrian and Russian flags, the participants chanted slogans asking the U.S. to take its hands off Syria and condemning it as the top terrorist in the world. Slogans hailing the victories achieved by the Syrian armed forces in the face of the international terrorism targeting Syria were held, and also they chanted during the event. Units of the Syrian army destroyed a terrorist hideout in the environs of al-Assad in the side. They also controlled al-Masoudiya school in Bab Hood quarter after killing the terrorists entrenched therein. The army destroyed hideouts with all their weapons and ammunition. Said that most of the members of the terrorist gang in al-Zar near Tel Kalach were killed and their weapons were destroyed. In the northern Homs countryside, terrorists fired mortar shells on the houses of innocent citizens in the villages of al-Raqa and al-Mazra, killing and wounding a number of citizens and causing material damage. In Daraa, units of the Syrian army confronted an attack by the terrorist gang in Dakar, killing most of its members. Meanwhile, units of our valiant armed forces controlled several masses of buildings near the National Hospital in the city of Daraa after killing the terrorists who were entrenched there, using those buildings as hideouts and opening fire on innocent citizens. In the Damascus countryside, units of the army killed several terrorists from the so-called Jabhat al-Nusra, some of whom were of foreign nationalities. They were trying to infiltrate the eastern Ghouta in order to support the defeated gangs who were receiving the blows of a Syrian Arab army unit. A field officer said the terrorists were observed and followed from the area of Al-Mir before they fell into a well-organized ambush in Adra. Large numbers of them were killed, while others were detained and their weapons confiscated. These weapons included automatic guns, RPGs, machine guns and cannons of 23mm caliber. The army also confiscated Jordanian and Egyptian passports from the terrorists who belonged to the so-called Jabhat al-Nusra, the Islam Brigade, and another gang calling itself Abu al-Rih. In Daraya, a Syrian Arab army unit discovered a 300-long tunnel used by the terrorists to the south of Shreda Square. The tunnel was supplied by electric power and used to store weapons and ammunition. The Syrian army killed 7 terrorists near the Oven Square and destroyed their weapons and ammunition. The Iranian press TV website published an article by the Irish political analyst Finian Cunningham in which he asserted that the British government encouraged the armed gangs in Syria to use chemical weapons. So did the Al-Khalifa regime in Bahrain. Cunningham added that the armed gangs in Syria were waging war on behalf of Britain, the US, and their Gulf allies. Cunningham asserted that the British government and its Western allies were guilty and involved in the war crimes in Syria. Health Minister Dr. Saad Naif said that 33 shipments of medicine have been sent to the governorates lately in the context of the ministry's efforts to preserve health security and meet the citizens' needs. Meeting yesterday, resident representative of the WHO in Syria, Elizabeth Hoff, and Naif said the shipments reached 11 provinces, as 4 of which were sent to Aleppo, 3 to Raqqa and Daraa, and 5 to Hama and Homs. Not to mention the medical shipments distributed regularly in crisis-hit areas in cooperation with international organizations. The talks during the meeting centered on the health situation in Syria and the ministry's needs at the current stage amid incessant attacks against health institutions by armed terrorist groups. And Naif said that the ministry is working to relocate the cadres working in the health institutions that have been hit and put out of service to the ones still in operation so as to cope with the immense pressure there amid a growing demand for free-of-charge services. The minister unveiled a national vaccination campaign that targets 2 million children of age to be launched in November, accompanied by distributing food packages and personal hygiene care groups. Dr. Naif urged international bodies to provide further support to the ministry's work and broaden the scope of medical aid, especially as regards the chronic diseases medicines.
The WHO is committed to try to assist the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Higher Education, and also NGOs throughout Syria where there are gaps in the delivery. So we are actually now trying to support with large quantity of medicines, with also to encourage the Syrian people to present their children for vaccination. And here we will support the Ministry of Health to try to reach out so that every child under 5 can be vaccinated against measles and also against polio. We have set up together with Ministry of Health a surveillance system, because the problem today, especially during the summertime, is that we are afraid of any outbreak of diseases.
In Iraq, at least 65 were killed and 190 injured in a series of car bomb attacks in Baghdad today. Iraqi medical and security sources said that 12 car bombs and 2 explosive devices targeted different parts of the capital, including Al-Madain in Baghdad. A police officer said that 2 car bombs exploded in Karade in central Baghdad before 2 other car bombs ripped through the communication and the 4th police neighborhood south of Baghdad. A few minutes later, 2 car bombs exploded in El-Tubaji area north of Baghdad. 2 other car bombs went off in the neighborhoods of Al-Bayya and Al-Zafaraniya south of Baghdad, and another car bomb exploded in the New Baghdad neighborhood. In the U.S., thousands of people demonstrated in several cities calling for justice in the wake of the acquittal of George Zimmerman, who killed the black young man Trayvon Martin. In New York City, Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton, was joined by civil rights leader and hundreds of demonstrators calling for the change of the laws. In Miami, hundreds of people joined the father of Martin to echo nationwide calls for racial equality and to speak out against a self-defense law that they believe may have helped to acquit the man who fired the fatal shot. In Chicago, Reverend Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition organized a rally outside the federal building, while in Los Angeles, religious and community leaders addressed crowds chanting, "No justice, no peace," outside a federal courthouse there. With the end of news for today, thank you for watching, and for more details about Syria and the region, you can view our website on syriaonline.sy. After the break, it's Vani with our economic news. God bless you, and as always, Lasse.
Good afternoon. Within the series of measures carried out by the authorities in Aleppo Governorate to ensure the preservation of the basic needs of the citizens, convoys of food baskets arrived into the center of the city to be to the families in various shelters in order to improve their living conditions. This army, in collaboration with the Governorate of Aleppo, distributed food and medical supplies to various displaced families. The service departments operated ovens and reopened the markets in the city. The manager of the real estate bank asserted that the bank's liquidity has improved by 5 degrees in a month. On the other hand, the bank has signed an agreement with the establishment of housing that includes a new mechanism to re-grant loans for the establishment assignees and the bank's depositors. He pointed out that the bank has directed all of its branches to grant these loans all over the country, expressing optimism regarding the citizens' positive reaction towards this decision. The general establishment of opened new halls similar to the Umayyad were accommodated in low prices. Cars will go to the neighborhoods that are far from to sell the products in the same prices. A lot of people are visiting the Umayyad compound because it provides foodstuff in competitive prices. The sales value reached 17 million Syrian pounds. The Directorate of Agriculture estimated the production of olive to be 63,000 tons in Latakia Governorate. The Director of Agriculture asserted that the cultivated lands are 95% of the arable lands, pointing out that the staff is supervising the fruitful trees and the summer crops in addition to incorporating new technologies and programs to fight the disease that affect the agriculture. The General Establishment of Food Industries asserted that all the companies have been taken into consideration while putting the plan of next year, pointing out that the planned production is more than 8 million Syrian pounds. The GDP value was in the market price after excluding the indirect taxes of the production plan in the value of more than 900 million Syrian pounds with fixed prices and more than 3 billion Syrian pounds with the current prices. And now over to the exchange rating, to the bulletin of the Central Bank of Syria. With this, we come forward and goodbye.